Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today, another exciting guest, another exciting show. Let me tell you where we're about to go today. I call it 30 and 6. 36. That almost sounds like some football yards. But let me tell you a little bit about where we're going today. 30 years, drug-free. 6 years sobriety, years of understanding, years of personal development, years of coming to grips with who I am as a person, years, and I do mean years of wanting to now come and tell a message that only he can tell. Today on the show, I'd like to welcome the young man that's definitely taken the social media by storm. So much so that they banned this shit. I haven't had my shit. I don't know if that's a compliment or what, but I haven't had my shit banned. I'd like to welcome to the show the one, the only, Mr. Charles Grier. What's going on, big guy?
Hey, man, it's a pleasure to be here with you, Andre, man. Thank you for inviting me.
Before we talk about this band, damn, I feel like a celebrity in a way. Like I got you on the show and your shit's been banned.
3 times.
3 times? Okay.
3 times. Final ban was it. That was it. They won't let me back.
Okay, before we get into that, tell the viewers a little bit about who you are before we get into your journey.
Yeah, of course, Andre. Well, first of all, like Andre said, my name is Charles Grier. I'm a native of North Chicago, Illinois, north of Chicago, the city. Raised by a single mom. You know, I had a stepdad in the picture when I was young, but mostly it was my mom raising me and my sister. Went through all struggles that you can imagine. You know, I mean, I'm going to say poverty, but we went through poverty. I saw some things growing up, you know, under my mother that I never thought a child should have to see. You know, I watched my mother in and out of relationships, just trying to maintain and keep something for myself and my sister. She thought she had to do certain things. I think a lot of the things that happened to me in my life and led me up to today is kind of what this journey is about. Okay. I lost a lot in my life. Getting on the drugs was an easy way out for me. It was easy. You know, because I didn't have to face all the things that I saw in my life, you know, but I realized something that had its repercussions with it as well. I lost everything in my life, the things that meant the most to me. And getting up to, how can I say it, to where I am today. Oh, excuse me, Andre.
You're fine. Charles,
where I am today.
Let me ask you a question. We're pretty much neighbors. I'm in Indiana, Indianapolis, and you're in Chicago. How far?
I'm in New Orleans now.
I mean, where you was raised at.
Okay.
Like, Did you grow up in the Cabrini Green area part of Chicago? What part of Chicago did you grow up in?
It was the suburbs north of Chicago. The city was called North Chicago, but many people get it, you know, confused. It's not a part of the city, Chicago. It's a suburb.
You mentioned drugs was an easy way out. You mentioned seeing things that a child should not see, seeing your mom trying to put food on the table. These are common threads in the road. When you're stricken with what may be the word hopelessness. The drug game became easy to you as to what level? Were you exposed to drugs as a kid and so forth? Like, how did that even come into your thought process? Because evidently there wasn't anybody that you could look up to that gave you an alternative, or was there anybody and you decided that this might be an easier way? Was hope pretty much
But
all there was?
yeah, I can answer that shortly. I was around drugs my entire life since the age of 2 that I can remember. And you say someone to give me, um, you know, a better outlook, someone I can look up to or whatnot. Those were the people. Because that's all I ever knew, Andre.
And that's really sad when you think about it. Now that you refreshing my, I have to consider myself lucky because I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. It was exposed to me later in life when my father was like, "You need to." Let me put it like this: I had education smarts. I didn't have street smarts. So
Okay.
like it was a total different game. I was easy prey for somebody to do a 3 card molly. I was easy prey for the game because I didn't know the game. I was fortunate to have at least to be put in an environment to develop. You wasn't like that. But what I'm saying
No.
here, it's really sad that, and that's when we're gonna get into this woke thing because people need to understand this journey. It's sad when in a community that is poverty stricken that even the drug dealers want to handicap the youths. Let me rephrase that. Where even the drug dealers who now become the superheroes to the community handicap the youth with drugs, money, and a hope of success.
All right. I want to intervene 1 second, Andre.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Um, you got to understand, like you said, you came from a different area than I did. And it's not that way the way we saw it, or the drug dealers. They were
Right.
not literally trying to handicap. They knew the struggle was real. Jobs were not there. Families couldn't afford anything. And to them, they saw they were helping us. In our neighborhoods, you got to understand, Andre, in our neighborhood, the drug dealers were the big bosses. They were the big bosses.
Mhm.
But as far as what people see on television and whatnot, it's not that way. No, today I can say I would never support any drug dealers because growing up, I know what it does to a family, to a person. But back then, growing up the way I did, yes, I supported it. Why? Because it kept food on my table. It paid my mother's rent. It gave me a home and it gave me an opportunity to do things that I never would have been able to do without them at the time. That's, the area where we grew up. It's portrayed differently than most people see it.
Wasn't you worried about several things? And the first thing is incarceration.
Been there.
The second thing is death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think there's a third with this. Did these things ever cross your mind at a young age, or if you're young, you're invisible? And I guess the art of money, that much money, and seeing what money can do, I guess you feel infinite, like you don't want to stop.
Well, I thought of death in prison way before drugs. I thought of death when I was just walking out of my home. I thought of death when I would go into a store or a certain neighborhood. So it wasn't the drugs that made me think of death. But to get to that point real quick, death was the last thing most of us worry about. Because a lot of people, no, we're not suicidal. Don't get me wrong with what I'm about to say. But a lot of people were like, if it happens, it happens. Leaving a messed up life that we were living as if we were never coming out, people didn't care. That's why you see all these what they call the little hard necks, the rough ones. They get out there and just do anything because their mind is set that, you know what, it's going to happen to me anyway, so I'm going to do what I got to do. So, no, I didn't worry about death. In prison, no, never worry about that. Almost everybody I knew were in and out of that.
When you mention prison, what was the events that two-part question, because we're dealing with something I think is really cool. 30 years of using, 6 years of the alcoholism, because I'm not a therapist, nor do I play one, but they usually go hand in hand, along with some type
Mm-hmm.
some type of depression, because these are things that we use to mask a pain that we're going through. But to go back to the question, with those two factors, what going in and out of prison in the 30 and 60, what changed your life? How long did you stay in prison? And then what
No, my,
changed?
my stay wasn't long at all. I only did 3.5 years.
Yeah,
But you
look. I don't know what you mean. It wasn't long. 3.5 years affects you some kind of way. You missed out on something.
no, I want to say this to you real fast, and I'm gonna make it fast I can. I don't regret a day of my life. And let me explain to you why. The prison, the drugs, the neighborhoods, the poor, everything. Because it made me who I am today. You see, you got many people that can go to school to learn anything they choose to learn through a book. But you have very few people that actually live these lives that they're trying to teach other people to which they never lived. So yes, everything that happened to me, I see now it was meant to happen because I got strong through it all. Now I speak to youth. I ran my own business in construction for homes. 9.5 years. I hired nothing but teenage kids. Got them off the streets. Out of those 9.5 years, 3 came back to me, well, many years later, and shook my hand and congratulated me. One gave me a hug. He said, "Thank you, Mr. Charles, because of what you done. I went and finished school. Because of what you done, I went into the military." All of them didn't do it. But just saving one let me know that everything that I put out there was worth it. So my life, this is just me, Andre, please. My life, I enjoyed every bit because it gives me something to give back to my community. It gives me something to give these kids, and knowing they have they have a chance now. Seeing somebody like me break free from all of this.
What was the moment of revelation for you?
Oh, the moment of revelation after I got out of prison in 1993. I went to pick my son. I was living in a small place called Aurora, Illinois.
I know exactly where it is.
Oh, you know. Okay, well, I had to drive to Waukegan, Illinois.
I know exactly where it is.
Okay, to pick up my 2 sons. They were infants at the time. Okay, like 4 or 5 or something. Well, I stayed for a little while, but on our way back, it had been like 1:30 in the morning. My car broke down. No cell phone. Back then, 93, it ain't like it is now.
Did you have a pager?
Yeah, I had a pager, but without no cell phone, I can't make a call. Okay. So to make a long story short, I had my sons standing in a field off the interstate because I didn't want a car to hit my car. And I didn't know what to do. And everybody passes up, but you got to understand, dark. I'm going to let you know right now exactly what changed my life. A gentleman picked me up, and he asked me where we were going, which was 2 hours out of his way. He said, "Don't worry about it, I'm going to take you." He missed my exit, the part where he takes me, and was going another way. I'm afraid for my life now. It was a white gentleman, okay? I'm afraid for my life because I got 2 infants with me. How can I fight this man off? He pulled into an apartment complex about 45 minutes away, asked me to bring my kids upstairs. I told him no. While he was upstairs, you know what I was thinking about? Grabbing my kids because I saw a gas station on our way to that apartment. I was about to just run to the gas station. A Mexican woman came out, his wife. She told me her husband just told her I wouldn't come upstairs, and she came to reassure me that everything was okay to bring my kid. She said they need something to eat and drink. I'm going to cut this short. He ended up taking me and my kids home, which was now over 3 hours away. We get there. I say, "Hold on one second. Let me go get some money. I got to pay you for what you've done." You know what he told me? "I can't accept money." I said, "No, I can't accept you doing this for nothing." He said, "There's one thing you can give me. Do something good for somebody else, and that's the payment." And since that day, I don't know how to stop.
Wow. That's crazy. It's almost like that play it forward type thing.
I thought of that movie, Pay It Forward. I thought they based it off my life. It's just a little joke I throw in there every once in a while. But yeah, that changed my life.
That is crazy. But let's go back a minute, because you shared something that's truly crazy to me. I love Rosie Grier, but more importantly, I love Pam Grier. Let's talk about The Room. Let's talk about a beautiful lady that impact your life? And I think all grandmothers impact our life.
Oh,
And she's 99 years old. She's about the same age as my grandmother who's still living. And you know what? We look at those ages and we look at, when I look at my grandmother, I know my grandmother's heritage from, slave. Her parents were slaves. They dropped her off here. She, fend for herself. She raised me and she raised her grandkids. She raised her kids. And you look at the stories that these grandmothers have. And here it is, your grandmother is 99 years old. Let's talk a little bit about her and let's talk about the room. Let's talk about the room. Because I know this is important to you because that was the first thing you talked about. The room, 99
grandmother's room with the attic in it.
And Pam Grier. Let's go down that road.
Well, like I mentioned to you earlier about the Pam Grier situation, when I found out that she is part of the family, it wasn't, I'm not gonna say a big shocker to me, but it wasn't nothing too amazing. You have to understand who I am and the way I was raised. I just heard of a name and I knew of her through a lot of movies. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when I found out it was some picture of something in my grandmother's attic. All right. And my mom came through and she was like, oh my God, I want to meet Pam. I want to meet Pam. She was excited to hear that her ex-husband's family is some kin of Pam Grier. And somehow they found a way for her to contact Pam. All right. And my mom talked to Pam and it was a big thing, and that's basically as far as it went. I never got nothing from Pam. We never saw her, never came around or anything. I don't use Pam Grier or any celebrity. And y'all, please excuse me for saying this. Any celebrity for claim for myself and my family. All right. This is just who I am, the way I was raised. It would be nice if one day we threw some and I actually walked in the door and saw Pam there. I would treat her like she's my family.
Yeah.
Now, go ahead.
No, go on with your grandmother.
Okay, with grandmother. Now, you mentioned about my grandmother, and I have to let this be known. That's the most sweetest woman you'll ever meet in your life. And I know everybody say, yeah, my grandmother too, but this woman here. Back home where we from, this street called Lewis Street, and there's a liquor store called Teepees. People back home know of it.
Okay.
Well, you could not venture into that area without knowing who Miss Coleman, that's her name, Ali Coleman, without knowing who this woman was. Every weekend, barbecues in the backyard. She sit upstairs in her kitchen window, watching everybody come by. Kids that used to visit with me would go over there themselves when I'm not even there just to sit with grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother kept my family alive. She kept them alive all of our lives. And one thing is, and I'm getting teary-eyed now because I'm thinking about my grandmother, but my dad was her first child. He died when I was 2. And she always saw me as my dad. And she gave more love to me than she probably gave to the rest, but she just didn't let them see it. But I knew. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like walked away over the years. And I've been here and I haven't contacted my grandmother. I'm not going to lie to no one. I haven't. An incident occurred where I walked away and it had nothing to do with my grandmother. It was some other family business that happened. But I was just talking about it and we making a plan. Now, I love this. Me and some cousins, we're going to all go down there in August and we're going to have a sleepover. We're not just bringing her grandkids and her kids. We're bringing the greats and the great grandkids and the great greats. And we're going to all have a sleepover over there since my grandmother reaching 99 this year.
What a great tribute to give to someone that's going on 99 years old. You mentioned the loss. If I heard your dad at 2 years old, what do you remember about your dad? What are some of the stories that you remember about your dad?
I'll put it like that. Out of every death that has ever occurred, I was only 2 now, mind you. But out of every death that has occurred in my life, he was the most significant to me. His was the one that stands out above everybody, even my mother. I love my mother to death. Everyone knows that. But my dad. And the reason for that is because throughout my life, all I heard is, I am my father. From the way I breathe, to the way I eat, to the way I walk, to the way I think, to the things I do is my father. Many people that grew up with and under my father throughout time has always reached out to me. about my dad. They told me everything I needed to know. And I will say my father was a very smart man, but he wasn't afraid of living and he wasn't afraid of dying. My father, and sorry I say this, but my father done street things, okay, with women, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And this is how he died. I just want you to know. My father was a pimp. I'll just say it. My mom knew before she met him. She knew, but he loved her and she loved him so much. They got married, but he still kept doing what he was doing. The women would come by and take care of me and my sister from another man, but they would come by and take care of me. They would take my mother shopping. They would put food in the house for my mother to show respect to her. Yeah. How my father died, one of the women's father, one of the girls' father, yeah, they called him preacher. He asked my dad, can you let my daughter go? My dad said she gonna do what she want to do. So he talked to my mother, and my mother told him, Charles, that's a man's daughter. You wouldn't want your daughter to be going through the same thing. So my dad went to that woman's house to let her know she's no longer with him. And while he was there talking to her, father pulled up and he killed my father.
Wow. Knowing your father was going there to do a good
the right thing.
The right thing.
But he didn't know that. Her father didn't know.
Knowing that about your dad, you're now a father. How many kids you have now? You have 2 boys. You have a daughter too, right?
I got 6.
6?
Yeah, 6 children. 5 boys, 1 girl.
What do you, with all that you've gone through, what do you instill in them now? Because your father was your hero. Your grandmother was the matriarch. Mm-hmm. Now you have 6 children. You've been through so much. What do you bring different to the table that they don't have to walk the path that you've went through? And that's not saying that they may do it one day, but as a father, I'm pretty sure you want to protect them from every aspect of danger as possible.
Yeah, as a father, my job is to bring my children up into a world far beyond the world that I grew up in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Only problem is I'm doing that with my daughter now. She's 14, high school, straight A student, number 1 high school in the state of Louisiana. Just had to throw that in there. But anyway,
what school is it then? You said number 1.
It's Benjamin Franklin out in New Orleans, Louisiana. Look it up. Okay, it's one of the top high schools you're going to see. Number 101 in the entire country.
Wow.
85%, I believe, all go to college through this school.
That's really strange because I have a lot of associates in the New Orleans area, and I hear something totally different.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I never hear anything like you just said, like your daughter's honor roll student, the number 1 school there. I guess the people that I've talked to, they never say anything really positive about New Orleans for some reason. And I say, no, it can't be that bad of a place to live because people are going there. There's activities there. It may be your environment, but thank you for sharing that. You're saying that's not the case. Your daughter's going to the top school there and the honor roll student.
Yeah, this school is one of the top schools in the country. But the thing is, I'm going to dismiss that thing about New Orleans being one of the worst places and this, that, and the other. You got to understand, the media mostly is going to feed you the worst parts of any city. Always. Okay. But why do you think hundreds of thousands of people come here yearly, not just to visit, they move here if it's that bad?
Right.
New Orleans is a beautiful place. And don't get me wrong, it's a city like any other city. You're going to have your bad aspects. You're going to have your bad neighborhoods, places you shouldn't go. But I don't want people to consider New Orleans the worst. It's not. It's far from it. Culture is beautiful. And me coming here from Chicago, I'm going to be honest with you, I was welcomed with open arms and well respected throughout the entire city. So yes, I say New Orleans is a beautiful place.
Let's go deeper. Let me use this word, which a lot of people have heard, the word woke.
Yes.
You pretty much went viral on TikTok. Mm-hmm. You got banned several times.
Yeah.
Tell me why you got banned. I'm curious. What was,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
more importantly, not only why you got banned, but you proceeded.
Mm-hmm.
This shows that that beast mentality you got. You said, "Fuck them. I'm gonna do it again. Get banned. I'm gonna do it again."
Yeah.
Finally, they was like done. Tell me that story.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. There are a couple of reasons why you get banned. A lot of people are getting banned because they're putting out misinformation. We know that they're lying. Okay, a lot of
Okay.
people, but there are very few and limited people that actually get banned for telling the truth. You see, TikTok was not created when it was created for people like me. It was there for talented people that want to dance, people that want to tell jokes and just community type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then we started this thing called Gen X, all the older folks, all right? We all got on it. Hey, let's support one another, this, that, and the other. And we older. We don't dance. So we basically have to tell stories.
Right.
And I started telling my outlook on what I see going on in this country. And I started realizing people wanted to hear this. So that's when I said, you know what? This is my opportunity to share what I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically, I keep it real. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. And one thing we have to understand is we learn by now the news media is not there for society, for the people. It's never been there for us. And for people to get on social apps and just continue to spread the news that they're giving us, but reword it, is still giving the same news. Mm-hmm. What I've always done is I break everything down. And you got to look at everything from every angle. And then you say, oh, this is what they're really trying to say. This is what they're covering up. This is what they don't want you to know. And you got to be brave enough to get out there and make a noise. And for anyone that's listening, I will promise you, you make that noise, you break that silence, they're not going to like it.
There will be repercussions. Yeah.
No, they're not going to like it. And this is bigger than TikTok, what I'm talking about. Much bigger.
You said much bigger. Give the viewers at least three impactful things that you felt they need to bring to light that caused you to get shut down. Three major topics that drew controversy.
Okay, here's one. One is I told them, I expressed that I don't believe in political parties. I don't believe there are political parties because everything manifests through itself, meaning everything that's been placed in front of the people are strategically placed in front of the people. Example, we look at what happened with Biden and how truthfully he just destroyed 4 years. He just didn't care. And towards the end, all of a sudden he's senile. Then this black woman, Kamala Harris, just comes from out of nowhere. Nobody really knows her. She's a vice president. And pushing her into it, which you have to understand something. Kamala was to never win. In my eyes, this is my opinion, she was to never win. You see, what I try to spread to the people is this. You have to keep that third eye open and watch everything that comes at you. Pat Williams said the year of exposure, and I do believe that because a lot of things are being exposed. But with the government, how can I say it, corruption that's going on, don't think because a savior came in, Donald Trump, and I voted for Trump, I did, because I ain't even finna look and see her, no, not after them for a year. But we still have to keep our eyes open and understand the government is the government, no matter how it's played out. Before Trump became in politics, right? They loved him. Americans loved him, black or white. Everybody, hey, I want to be like Trump one day. Government officials loved Trump. They golfed with him. They went to Mar-a-Lago with him, done everything with him right before he said, I'm going to become president. Soon after that, everybody hated him. And I'm not talking about the community, in the government. They hated him. How you turn on Monday from loving a man, cherishing a man, wanting to be a part of this man, till Wednesday saying he's racist, he's this, that, and the other, and you've been a part of his life. Everything has an agenda. And all I want to the people is nothing is over until it's over.
What do you think was this is the thing that a lot of people, and let me say thank you for coming on the show and spreading and the information, because that's what we do here. We want people to engage, and people need to also understand this is his journey, not your journey. So you need to just listen, have an open mind, and take heed to what somebody's saying before you go out and judge. So let's go back a minute. You voted for Trump. What were some of the things that, because being a man of color, and this is what we say as people of color or different nationalities, what was the handicapping factor, in your opinion, that the people didn't see that prevented her from becoming the next president? A lot of people said that she never focused on policy.
No, she didn't. She didn't focus. And the thing is, it's not about her not focusing on policy. Listen, this woman is well educated. We all know this.
Yeah.
We all know. Okay. Well, think to yourselves, a well-educated woman, and I've seen women that ain't as educated as her come out and know how to speak to the people. She didn't. And I'm not saying she didn't know how. She just didn't do it. When I told you before that everything to me is being planned out strategically, she's a perfect one. But anyway, with Kamala, no, she didn't have policies, but she, how can I say it? She wasn't a trustworthy person. She wasn't at all. Her thing was to try to appease to the people. Just, hey, hey, I'm Kamala, I'm a black woman, and I'm going to do this. When in actuality, I take a look back, her prior, when she was district attorney, and she done nothing for the people but lock them up. And I see a person like that, if she really had a chance coming in and not making things better for the black community, but destroying them. Kamala Harris did not identify as a black woman.
Right.
She identified as an Indian. But now you running for politics, you want to identify every race so you can become a part of them. I went for Trump. You want me to tell you why? Because we need more honest people. They said Trump racist. Trump said this. He said that. We all watched a lot of things Trump said and do, right? Mm. Here's the thing about it. What about all these other politicians before him that don't say it to you, but they are just what they call Trump? Mm. I would rather, listen, be transparent with me. Right. Let me see who you are, and I know what I'm looking for. You can't trust something you can't see.
What was another topic that TikTok banned you for that you really was very vocal on?
Oh, God, let me pick on it. Excuse me. All right. We talked about indigenous to this land, okay? Mm-hmm. The indigenous people. And when Trump came into office, he kind of opened some new doors for people that didn't understand who their true people, their true heritage was. All right. And my thing was, I was pushing the issue. I'm not going to lie about that. I pushed the issue real hard because, see, this is something I knew. Africa was never our home. We were never from Africa. I knew this from, African friends or whatnot, but we didn't come from Africa. We are indigenous to this land. Everything we've been taught through history has always been a lie. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy that it's finally opening up and people are becoming aware that I get a chance now to speak about it. But they don't want someone like me telling everything that's going on with how they are suppressing a people and why they're suppressing a people.
I am blown away because not many people realize that people of color were here before the Native Americans were here.
We are the ones that open our arms to them. And
I get it. It's funny. I'm a former history teacher, so I get it. I see how history has changed. But the tripped out part about it is that here it is, you a man of color and you recognize this, and just that little bit of information becomes a deadly loaded weapon. But it only becomes a really deadly loaded weapon when individuals really have their mind open and go back and research what you just said.
And they do it. I love people to do it. I love that. And I've had many people, and this is not just the black community. I've had white people do it as well.
Yeah.
And they might have a few things to add on or whatnot, but they cannot dispute the fact that the knowledge that I give to them is knowledge that I've been researching for, man, I don't even know how many years now. Things that I've always known.
What's the third and final nail to the casket that got you banned permanently?
Oh,
boom! You wasn't prepared for that one.
no, I was. The reason is because, like I said, I'm trying to remember this last one. Oh my God. Oh man. Here, it's hard. I can't remember them all, but I can tell you how it happened. They didn't ban me with these videos. What they did is they suppressed them to where I was getting millions of views on every video. Okay. And I looked up and I'm only getting 400.
Yeah, it's kind of strange to go from 1 million to 4.
Yeah, and I'm serious. I'll get 400, and then I think I got lucky and got 2,000 views off of the last 9 videos I posted. So basically, they just let me know we don't. And I want you to understand something. I'm not as stupid as people would want to gather me to be. You see, they understand that, and basically what they said is he is not putting out the right wording for us to say you're banned. So what we're going to do is suppress him all the way down. I got tired of it. So I started speaking. I'm trying to remember which one I spoke on. I think it was pertaining to, this is it, about the wars that we've been going through. Now, you remember they said, I don't know if you heard about it. Donald Trump is stopping. I think they said a recruitment of black people in the military or something. He signed an executive order where black people don't have to be enlisted into the military now. Mm-hmm. And basically what it was, and I put it out there, black people were the experiments in all this. Listen, black people, we rose up in these wars, all the wars. We were on the front line and we done damage. Never were recognized for anything we done. We came back home.
Down. That is so funny that you said that, because you're right. During the wars, black people were put on the front line and did considerable damage. When we got sent to France, fight, they didn't.
We had women out there too,
and one kicked their asses like crazy. But history suppressed that, and it's really sad. And we're gonna get to that in a minute with the woke thing. It's really sad that the contributions, and I don't really know who to blame that on. I blame it on the system. But I blame it on us as a people to not want to really understand who we are, instead of shucking and jiving, dancing and performing, to see how powerful the race.
Yeah, but we gotta. Andre, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to say this real fast.
Oh, go ahead.
But we still have to get one thing understood throughout our race of people, and that's that we don't have to hate another race because we finally waking up and seeing what been done to us. The thing people have to understand is what's happening today is not racial anymore.
Right.
What's happening today is rich, poor. That's it. Listen, the plan was so divine back when they pulled slavery back. It was so divine back then, because people have to understand a lot of those ones that was overseeing the slaves were poor white people. They were poor.
Could you say that again? Because I've been saying that forever.
And the thing is, you got to understand, those same poor ones that were over the slave, they were just given a title and they were to take control for the rich people. Those same ones are living next door to us, just as poor as we are. So I don't want black people to say I'm gonna hate white people, because it's not them. It's the 1%ers that are up top that says I want to maintain control of the people and I want to maintain dominance. And the only way to do that is to keep mentally enslaved.
I tell people, Charles, this is where it goes back to the 14th and 17th century, where they were called conquer and divide.
Conquer and divide.
And I tell people of all colors, even white people, because like you hit it dead on the nose. You was just as much outcast as we were a slave, because you didn't have the resources. You didn't have money.
No.
So when you see history repeating itself, and I agree 100% with you, It's going back to resources, the rich and the unrich, and it's used through a system called conquer and divide. And
Exactly.
I think history will always repeat itself, just like fashion. You have to know where the cracks lie and go back and research it. So let's move forward a little bit with that. And I'm glad that you came on the show to share this information, because it's information I already knew, but I think everybody else needs to hear it from a different aspect. You don't have to hear it from me, but if other people are telling you the same thing, I think you might need to wake up and start doing your own research.
Oh yeah.
Let's
Yes,
move
you
forward with
do.
a little bit of a part that affected everybody. Kendrick Lamar,
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl appearance. Give me your take on that, and I give you my take.
Good and bad.
Give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. The Clint Eastwood.
Good. No, good, because the message was given that Kendrick wanted to give. He
Right.
wanted people to know. He was basically saying revolution to begin, revolution to start. And what that is saying is, hey, people, be aware. This is what's going on in your country. Black people, you got to stand up, take knowledge of who you are, and, come to the forefront. And in other words, other little words I could throw in there. But when I say bad, I also take a look at how this was laid out. That's what didn't sit well with me. You see, for the first time in history, the first president ever in history went to the Super Bowl. It's never been done. Hell, he was president before he didn't go then. Seemed kind of strange and odd to me. Also, this particular Super Bowl, everything halftime was our people, everything. Listen to where I'm getting to with this. Jay-Z was ridiculed before the Super Bowl because he chose Kendrick Lamar, which I'm sorry, everybody better know it. Jay-Z is a part of the industry. You can't wash it no other way. But I'm getting a little deeper with this. Everybody in New Orleans love Lil Wayne because this is home. So then why? Kendrick Lamar gets up there and does something that no one has ever done in the Super Bowl. He don't give a song just for people to love his music. No, he gave a song to awaken people. He gave a message. And it all happened at a peculiar time, right in the middle of the Super Bowl, where people are not just watching this country, throughout the entire world. Donald Trump presents himself there. The reason I say bad, because I hate to see where this is going to lead us to. All these things happening. Yes, Donald Trump saying, hey, the indigenous people are not truly these Indians, Indonesian people, or Asian people, or whatever they are. It's the black people. Okay. We're seeing a lot of things coming forth for the black people now. Hey, they're standing up strong. I'm seeing it everywhere. Trump says no military for the blacks, so you don't have to enlist, whatever the case may be. Too much, too fast is coming at us, and it scares me because there's always an agenda behind every play that they do. I don't want my white constituents to think, oh man, black people gonna rap, oh, they're gonna hurt us. They don't care about us, they hate us, and this, that. I don't want them to think that. And I don't want no one out there trying to push this issue into the white community because it's another form of divide. We see videos of white men with guns and whatnot, and I don't want the people to say, oh, they're coming after us. Could it be that they're afraid that we're coming after them? We gotta try to maintain ourselves and remember one thing. At the end of the day, we all in this together.
Man, that was beautifully orchestrated. I'm gonna call you the Junior Kendrick Lamar.
No.
After that
Frederick
performance,
Douglass, I can accept Frederick Douglass, UEP, I can accept something like that.
after this performance, this interview, man. But you know what? You're absolutely right, and it's sad that that's what it appears to be happening, the conquer and divide syndrome. And it's not a hatred thing. I can see other nationalities getting afraid. I can see the revolution, a type of revolution coming, but I hope it's a revolution where people can understand it's really about us coming together as humanity and pulling our resources like we did back in the day before naturalization law came into effect, before the conquer and divide law came into effect, and realize at the end of the day, we all bleed red. We're all going to get in the casket sooner or later. How do we come together as a team for the humanity's sake? Because if with technology the way it is, we see that it's happening all over the world, that the new generation uh, is not engaged in that type of ridicule so much. But I think the new generation also needs to understand that history will repeat itself. Will repeat itself if you don't embrace the pitfalls of understanding why these civilizations or these groups of people collapse upon themselves. So my hats off to you for bringing such a um, informative information. What's your end game? What's your end game?
My end game is to reach.
Nobody's going to set you up. We already know that.
No, it'll never happen.
Yeah,
it'll never happen.
What's the bigger message here for people, for you?
The bigger message is that I'm trying to do out there is show the people that I have the fight and I'm never going to give up. I want the people to see me. Like I told you earlier, I don't regret none of my past. It's the same thing with what's going on with me now. The people need to see and understand this man is pushing a message for the people. I'm not pushing a message for the black race, for the older race, for this. I'm not doing this. I'm pushing a message because the people need to understand something. There is going to come a time when we are going to realize something. We need one another.
Damn.
This thing that's going on with them, the upper, and going on with us has been happening for far too long. And it's going to get to a point where I'm going to have to look to that man that said he hated me. I'm going to have to be there for that woman that didn't want to look my way. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to be all we have. That's what people need to understand. It don't matter how you slice it. You can see all this propaganda going on in the news and social media telling you, no, you're better than this person. That person's better. It's all set up to keep us down and divided. We got to stay strong to who we are. Yes, we're Americans. And just to say this, I don't even know what we are anymore, because if we're not African Americans no more. I don't want to say I'm black, but this is black and I'm not colored. You know, we have been stripped. The black people have been stripped of everything. Our culture, our history, our religion, everything has been gone. So we do need to come together for once in our lifetime, come together as a nation, not excluding white people, but white people have to understand, in order for us to move forward with who we are, we got to learn to come together, help each other, build each other, so that we can make everything much better for everybody around us.
Why do you think we've been hearing this for centuries, since Martin Luther King, before slavery, during slavery, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, here we are in 2000s. We've been hearing this with people of color. We seem to be the only
race of people.
I shared this with somebody. We see the Native Americans, they build culture, value, structure. Chinese, structure, value, cultures. White people, structure, value, culture, and power. That's the difference. Power. Black people collect stuff and build ghettos. How do we, and we've been hearing this message. What is the handicap that we people as color are? Because we won't allow
a true leader to step in that place. We won't allow the right person to come up and lead the people where they need to go. We keep putting these ones that were planted there to keep us a certain way. Listen, I follow Malcolm X. I love him to death. I listened to everything that Malcolm X spoke about. I didn't follow Martin Luther King. I might get some disagreement, but I'm sorry. I know what the power of the CIA, FBI, and the government will do as far as putting your own people in front of you, gaining a mass following, only to keep you in chains, keep you enslaved. No, I've never, the moment they said, oh, if you slap me on this side, I'm going to turn and you slap me on that side, I ain't following you. I'm sorry. Because you slap me, I ain't going to punch you. That's just the way it is. But the thing I'm trying to say is, no, one thing that kept us down in the ghetto, because black people tend to idolize celebrities, ball players, rappers. And these people are not there to push the agenda for the black equality. They're not there for that. They are in the limelight of the media, and they have to keep up a certain image. And in order for them to keep maintaining, they got to do their bidding. And their bidding does not include us. So until we can find the right ones that's going to actually get out here and take a stance for the people, yes, we're going to keep going down that road. We're going to keep going down. And I know you said it's happened many thousand years or whatever, centuries or whatnot, where the people talked about, it ain't been done. That's because we haven't had the right people leading us. They've been leading us down the wrong road all these years. It ain't just our fault. It's like a bad parent. You got a bad father in there, don't want to raise his son the right way. Want to go out there, sleep with all kinds of women, let his daughter see this type of stuff. Want to go out there, slang drug, do drug. Well, you know what? That child's going to emulate what they see. Same thing I say with a lot of our leaders.
It's funny that you said that, because I look at, let me rephrase this. Is it the responsibility for the entertainers that, like, say, for instance, the Rick Rosses and the LeBron James, the people that got all this wealth, the Sean Diddy Combs, now all of a sudden these guys have all this money, and now here's a guy that's in prison. Here's R. Kelly that did the same thing that Epstein guy did. It's in prison. I get what you're saying, idolizing the rappers and the ball players and so forth, but is it their responsibility to carry the chains for black people? Because clearly idolizing them is not the way to do it. And where do we find the right leader to come forth, or should we say the Messiah, that's going to awaken the masses to what's going on here? Because they're not going to share their wealth with the common cause, even though they say they do. I don't see Rick Ross taking all that resources and building schools on all this land that he's allegedly supposed to have. I don't see John Diddy Combs, who's got billions of dollars in the house. I don't see a school or banks that's saying his name. So I think what I see when we're talking about entertainers and wealth that can make a difference, they're not going to make a difference. It's called self-preservation.
But one thing I would say is, when you brought up about them being responsible and whatnot for the black community, I never once said that they should be. They don't listen. We hired them for entertainment. That's it. They are entertainment. And no, I'm not looking at them taking their money, putting it back in the community, because I know they making their money. They want to brag and show the world how much I got, and giving away a little bit hurts them. I'm not asking for that. What I'm asking you to do is stay out the way. If you're going to be a part of that, be a part of that. If people are going to still support you, then let them support you. But don't come in the black community telling us which way to vote, telling us how we're supposed to live, telling us what we need to do. Because you have some people, our young ones especially, and a lot of old ones, that are impressionable. They love them so much that they start following that direction. And what it does, it splits us up. It splits us up. How do we find the right? I won't call no one a leader anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. Which we know we're supposed to have a leader, because there were once kings and queens, which were our leaders. But I'm going to just say it like this. How do we find the right person to start directing our people in the right path? Pay attention and listen to them. There are many out there that are out here to do just that. They're not looking for the fame of it. They're trying to spit the knowledge to the people. They're trying to awaken the people. Instead of judging them, just listen to them, and you're going to be amazed at some of the things they have to offer you. And guess what? Bring your friends over. Let's all enjoy what he's talking about or what she's talking about. And you know what eventually happened? You have a strength and you have unity all at once.
Before we wrap up, I just got to ask this before we wrap up. We saw Samuel L. Jackson send a lot of symbolism through his words. What was your take on that performance with Samuel?
Well, uh, I don't really want to speak on that. But it was like Uncle saying. I mean, it's really hard for me to speak on that. I can't speak on that with uncles. I mean, with Sam, I can't, not on that topic right now, because there's a lot of things that's been coming to me about that certain thing. So right now is not the best time for me to speak on it. But the next time I come on your show, I'll have the answer that I know everyone's gonna be looking for.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you to that one.
Yeah, you can hold me to it. One thing y'all will learn about me: I'm a man of my word.
How can the viewers reach out to you, support you, and follow you on social media?
Well, they took me off. I will not do Facebook, so y'all don't look me for me there. I subscribed to YouTube recently. That's a big difference than TikTok, but I just subscribed to that. And I got a few videos on there. It's Gen X, yeah, Gen X 67. And my son DRG Management Group. He has a little platform that he put out there for his dad. Okay. And what I'll do, Andre, is I'll get all the information on there for my son, and I'm gonna send it to you. Okay. So y'all can start looking at him and what he's doing for his father. Because for your own son, and before I leave, I want to say this: a son that I abandoned. Yes, I abandoned my two oldest sons after prison. The ones I told you I had as a baby and got pulled over, whatnot, or in the car.
Yeah.
I moved to Louisiana, and I didn't have contact with them for many years of their life. But here's what's going to amaze you. Me and my son got the best relationship any father and sons could ever have. And my sons told me, they said, Pop, the reason is because we are you. Can never take that away from me. So I love my sons to death. Yes, sons, I said it. All right, whatever.
Are they there? Are they there with you?
No. I said that because he's gonna be watching the video. But yeah, I'll send you the information so you can get the people to log on to my son's website. Okay. And like I say, check out his work.
You know what? Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. We're definitely gonna have you back. I'm curious now because I really want to know your take on the Samuel
Jackson.
Yeah, so we're gonna have you come back ASAP once you get the clairvoyancy from the oracle.
I'll keep y'all up to date on everything that's going on, Andre. And I got some things that you really would like to hear, and I promise you that.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another exciting episode of Andre the Beast Crayton show.